wedding in Norway between Princess Märtha Louise and Derek Varek was the first time I wondered who would wear a skirt. Would it be the bride or groom, or the bride and the groom? Yes, her fiance has a penchant for wearing women's fashion, sometimes including the day before their wedding. So there was a definite concern, but it was a surprisingly traditional, yet also very eccentric, cringy, and tacky display there in Norway. So we will look at some of the fashion, including the bride's tiara, because it is a Tiara Tuesday. But if you guys haven't been to Royal Fashion News, hello, my name is Brittany and I have a passion for royal fashion and all the things that apply to that: clothing, jewelry, tiaras, handbags, shoes. I have a shoe video I've been working on forever and I just need to get through it. But I am so excited to bring you this amazing, lovely video today. But if you guys haven't subscribed, feel free to hit that button and the notification bell. We would love to have you back. So let's look at the bride's ensemble, because we need to start here with the bride, but maybe we should start off with a bit of a brighter side, which is the tiara itself. So let's take a look at King Olav's either gift tiara or 18th birthday tiara, depending on which source you look at. So this rather delicate tiara, which has a diamond and pearl wheat ear design, was originally made by Gerard, and it was presented to Princess Märtha Louise by her grandfather, King Olav V, for her 18th birthday. And she has worn it pretty consistently for over 30 years now. And though she has worn other tiaras from the royal family, this is her most consistent piece, you would say, including this little braid over here at the bottom of the design. It seems to be something pretty consistent. And interestingly, though, this tiara was actually first worn by the Duchess of Kent at an event in 1982. Now, just to get the family connection here, because I wanted to make sure there's a relation here and I want to make sure I get this right. So I looked up, and the Kents, who are descendants of King Edward VII and Queen Alexandra of the UK, their daughter Maud became Queen of Norway. And they also had a son, obviously, who became King George V. So that is the connection there between the families. King George V is the grandfather of the current Duke of Kent, who is well into his 90s now. The Duchess of Kent has officially retired from royal duties. And the Duchess of Kent has also worn an emerald necklace that was purchased by the Norwegians later as well. Apparently, according to reports, Gerard is pretty much the jeweler of choice for the Norwegians. There's other royal families that use other jewelers. For the Norwegians, though, they very much are like the Brits, and they use Gerard pretty frequently. And for her 18th birthday, Märtha Louise also got an antique diamond necklace, which she was not wearing at this particular event. And another interesting note about this tiara, because it doesn't really have a long history, you could say, within the family, is that one time it was worn by her mother, Queen Sonia, while she was traveling in New York City. And I think the reason for this is that it wasn't too long before this that the Queen Maud tiara was stolen from Gerard. So Gerard actually had to remake this family tiara for them. And so I imagine, since it was right around that time and they were traveling out of the country to New York City, which at some points in its history could have been very rough, they decided, you know what? We're just gonna go with our daughter's tiara. So if we lose this tiara, it's not as historically important as the other ones in the collection. So it's a one that we could afford to lose. I don't know if that's the case, but I just kind of thought that was a funny idea. But I do like the tiara. I think the tiara looks amazing. But let's look at the bride's gown itself, because that is the true testament. And I believe it was custom made for her. Obviously, you can see it has this flower design here, and she has a train that she can pull up as she was walking around trying to greet people in the crowd. Apparently, she got a little upset that the photographers from the news agencies were blocking the public's view of her, because she's like, they're here to see me. Now, well, I totally understand that. I also think it's a little bit like, they're here to see me. I need my accolades. Because what you'll get throughout this wedding here, and I think I'll do a whole different video on it on Royal News Network, is that this was very much, I feel like, a woman sort of trying to relive her youth. And in this particular situation, my probably big critique here is the low neck V line, because it just doesn't look particularly flattering from certain angles. Kind of emphasizes her age, because you need to have, let's say, the proper undergarments to really make that shine. So let's look at a different picture here. So you guys may see what I mean here a little bit. It's just a little too, I think, low cut for her age. And I just wanted to blow this up a bit. Unfortunately, you can't avoid certain things just because of where things are. But these flowers do look, I think lovely. But oh, you just want to say bless her heart. If you don't know the phrase bless your heart, it is something that people say generally in the South. And if you say bless your heart or bless their hearts before you go into discussing what you could say is negative about somebody, if you just say bless your hearts, you're kind of forgiven. So bless her heart, but I don't think this looks particularly good because she kind of looks saggy. And that's part of the process of aging, and so I don't know if a better undergarment could have made that less obvious. I do not know. What I also thought wasn't super flattering about this dress is that this zipper on the side is totally and completely obvious. It's just from this angle, I'm like, I don't know how much she paid for this particular dress. I believe I can't imagine that it wasn't custom made, but this type of zipper makes me think it's off the rack. Because it's not concealed. Like, there's ways to conceal the zipper, there's ways to do different things. So the zipper's not just so apparent that literally everyone can see it, because everyone can see it right here, and I don't think it looks particularly good. Pulling up her train here, I also think this kind of looks, you could say, a little cheap and a little like not a wedding dress, or not like a royal wedding dress, because I feel like royals don't generally pull up their trains like this, but maybe I'm wrong. But I've watched a lot of royal weddings and I generally don't see them do that. And so here we have the side angle. Oh, looking at this again, this doesn't look all that good. I just want to say overall, and I've said this for other pieces, and obviously people can wear what they want to wear, but at some point, you're not 20 anymore or 30 anymore. She's in her 50s. She's 52. This side look is not particularly flattering. It's just not. It's just not. And not that I am flawless by any means. I will be the first person to say this, but you really want to put your best foot forward, especially when Hello Magazine is covering this exclusively, and also Netflix. So we also got chunky platform sandals. I don't know. These might be like Aquazur or something. Aquazur kind of has something similar, but I could see her also making something. But I just think this in particular from the side, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. I would say overall, this is probably one of the worst wedding dresses we've seen in a little bit. And definitely, I don't think something you could say super appropriate for a second wedding. Now, some people might disagree with me there, but let's look at her first wedding look, which was very different and I think a little bit more appropriate. So this is the look from Princess Märtha Louise's first wedding, and I gotta say, this look is pretty incredible. I would give this definitely like 7, 8 stars out of 10 because it looks fantastic. There is an elegance here to it. There is a demureness to it that I think is very endearing. I love sort of the embroidery down the dress here. And ironically, it's actually more appropriate dress for the age she is now than when the age she married. So you almost get a sense then again of a woman trying to recapture her youth here. And sometimes I want to do maybe a whole video on this some days. Some days that just doesn't work. It doesn't look good. It looks like you're trying too hard to be youthful. And there's nothing wrong with being older. And in fact, there's many fashions that you can adopt as you get older. But I think for Märtha Louise in particular, this isn't a particularly flattering look. It's sort of fit well around the waist here, and I think that's fine. Although I will also notice, I think he is definitely, her now husband is more into himself, and maybe the gentleman, because he was engaged to a man for like 7 years, than he is in the ladies for sure. And so let's go ahead, since we are here, and talk a bit about the groom's strange ensemble. So Derek wore a black tuxedo, trousers with gold cummerbund in a tie knot, in a nod to the 1700s, apparently, according to Hello Magazine, which exclusively covered the wedding. The couple's monograms were embroidered on the tuxedo jacket, also in gold. So we got to talk about this monogram here. In fact, let's get a better picture of it. Here we go. So you can see it right here. And this is definitely like one for the ages. You have to talk about it because it's so kind of over the top. And so it is unofficial, and they released this on their Instagram. And if you haven't known, Drek obviously is a shaman, and Märtha Louise considers herself spiritual. So It's interesting. So she says the M is for Martha. The hieroglyph means the wise owl, a guardian of souls navigating between worlds. The owl represents the protector guiding humans through the passage from earthly existence to the spiritual world. D is for direct, obviously, where the hieroglyph manifests as the hand, a symbol of actions performed with grace, opening doors and dancing through life. The eye of Horus represents healing and knowledge, a symbol of protection from evil. Egyptian texts say Horus' right eye was the sun and his left eye was the moon, representing the masculine and feminine energies. The beginning and end, the rising sun of the day and the rising star at night, the horses. Okay, yeah, I see the horses on the top of the M there, have a central animal throughout their lives, honoring their sensitivity, their strength, and their majestic powers. The heart symbolizes the unconditional love that flows between them. The owl, wisdom, the ability to see through darkness. Okie dokie. The infinity symbol, symbolizing our eternal bond until you get divorced. The diamond representing the portal between the physical and metaphysical realms. This monogram truly speaks to our cores, representing us and our love, and we are truly grateful and honored that it signifies our unity to the world. So this was on her Instagram because, of course, she had to pull back from her royal duties because basically they're like, you're too crazy at this point. We can't deal with this and this guy. Because he apparently has a belief that unhappiness is why you get cancer, and he has told that to children, apparently. So he was dropped by his publishers, among other things. Of course, they interpret all of this as racism against them, not that he might be a little crazy. So yeah, the monogram is definitely unique and he looked a little bit over the top. I can't say I'm totally surprised either. Because again, there was a pre-wedding picture where he was definitely walking around in a skirt. And he likes to dress in other women's clothes. So let's get into the other sort of tacky, you could say, look at the event to give you like the full scope of the couple. So we are looking now at the couple on their way. This is the day before their wedding. They're taking a ship up the fjord to their wedding location. I think it's Granger is how you pronounce it. So she is wearing a Hest leather jacket and skirt, which is from her own brand, which she puts a giant H over like all of it, which reminds me a lot of the Hermes icon, which is also an H. So I'm curious how she's not maybe getting in trouble for copyright infringement, just because it looks really similar to me. She's obviously trying to mimic the H from Hermes. Just saying. She has a Bruce Glenn shirt on, and he is wearing a Hollister jumper, which apparently is actually technically designed for women. He has a Hollister cargo pants on, Gucci sneakers, and sunglasses, all of which are apparently new. So that's probably reflective of, again, the new status they're having. That I don't know why poop ensembles are becoming a theme for royals, because that also reminds me a bit of poop. Because I have looks of Megan's where I'm like, that looks like poop. It's not as, it's just weird. It's just a little weird. So the couple themselves were had some less than desirable fashion looks, but they were not the only royals there, and there are definitely some standouts. Now, I gotta say, for the ceremony itself, the wedding ceremony itself, the Norwegian royals wore traditional outfits, with the exception of King Harald right here and Crown Prince Haakon. The Crown Prince and Princess's children, so we have Princess Ingrid Alexandra right here in this gorgeous green ensemble, and their son Sherv Magnus. And he looks lovely and also what looks like his traditional attire. I don't know why the other gentlemen couldn't get in on the fun. And we also have the lovely Queen Sonia. I love that they wore traditional outfits, and I'm just kind of sort of curious why. Why did they wear the traditional outfits? Because I don't know if we got totally an explanation, but I wonder if it's a way to kind of reinforce that we're Norwegians, we're the royal family, we're not part of this dog and pony show. I can't help but think that might have been part of the reason. But I think they look absolutely fantastic. They look amazing. I love this. I absolutely love this. We also have the absolutely lovely and amazing Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden. And I've actually seen her wear this dress. She wore it to her father, King Carl Gustaf's 50th Golden Jubilee celebrations at Drottningholm Palace there in Stockholm. This was like the pre-concert event before sort of some of the main events got started. And so I got to see her actually in this because I had press credentials and I could cover it, which was amazing. I love the color. I think the color is absolutely amazing and incredible. I love the movement here that you can see. It's awesome. It's apparently a Christer Lindard dress. She also has a Gucci clutch and Shorrock earrings. And again, I think all of this looks amazing and incredible. I really, really do think she looks absolutely lovely. And we also have another lovely addition from the Swedish royal family here. Princess Sofia of Sweden as well in her hideous Gianvito Rossi platform shoes here. I think those things are so ugly. They're like too platformy. They're too platformy. Just don't like them. And she is wearing, again, her Lily Jahilo dress combination here, which I think is absolutely amazing. And we also found out officially that she is expecting their fourth child. They had 3 boys, so maybe they're looking forward to having a girl. So this is her husband here, Prince Carl Philip, and this is Crown Princess Victoria's husband here, Daniel, who looks like he is carrying her clutch for her, which is so sweet. We also have Princess Laurent here of the Netherlands, because this really seemed like no family was really trying to send their high rollers here. Seems like Laurent and her husband, Prince Constantine there, she is wearing a Masani dress. And it is a repeat. Actually, all the foreign royal ladies wore repeats. I think you could even say the traditional garbs were also repeats. So there was a definite concerted effort for everyone, you could say, not to put on their best display. Because what happens in other royal weddings, if you don't know? Usually, especially if it's big ones, everybody's wearing something new. Everybody's wearing their grandest item, those sorts of things. Everybody was definitely paring it back because of the little bit of the hinkiness of this relationship and marriage, you could say. And although we didn't get a great look at this is Princess Ingrid Alexandra, and seemingly this lovely, although maybe a little bit too low cut for a princess, Bash Paris dress. And now I know some people will come after me and say, well, it's not that big a deal. In royal circles, generally, the dress is a little bit more modest, and I think that's actually absolutely lovely. She is young, so I give her a pass, but I do think the color is amazing. I think the color is absolutely amazing, and apparently she is wearing one of her mother's Chloe coats. And I've noticed this a lot with the young royal ladies, is that they're starting to wear their mother's clothing a lot, which I find is so fun. And actually, Prince Sir Magnus, his girlfriend right here, she is at one point in one of the events wearing actually Met Marit's old dress, which I thought was absolutely amazing. So apparently the family is pretty close to her, that she was, I don't want to say allowed, but invited to come to this event is pretty telling, really. So I think, though, Ingrid Alexandra looks lovely. And for the absolute worst look of the event, we have some very special contenders here. I have no clue who these people are. I just became aware of them because Varek reposted something they posted in their Instagram feed, and I saw it and I was like, okie dokie. So the worst looks of the day has to go to whoever these 2 people are. He is wearing a skirt. Her hair is highlighter yellow. They're wearing these, I can only call them hideous purple ensembles. He is wearing a mock, like they're almost mocking the royals, which I feel like is kind of tacky, because he's wearing this tiara thing, big necklace thing, which are probably all fake. She looks absolutely ridiculous. She got the handbag right there for him as well. Maybe he's holding hers, though. Maybe that's the case here. But just to give you an idea of the friendships of this couple, so these 2 people were invited. So, anyways, guys, let me know what you think. What were some of the best and a lot of the worst looks at Märtha Louise's wedding? Unfortunately, I think some of the worst looks have to lean towards the bride, and the rest of the royals, though, put on a pretty well show. Although Princess Laurent, I have to say, don't like her dress at all either. But guys, let me know what you think. I'd love to get your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you oh so soon. Bye.
We don't count the carats, we count the centuries.